Hello and welcome to the Mindset and Miracles Keys to Healing and Unlocking Your Divine Potential global event. This exciting global event is designed to empower attendees to expand their consciousness and embrace divine love for healing and breaking free of limiting beliefs. I am Ramah, the host and creator of this beautiful event. Today, I'm excited to present Kenji Kumara. Kenji was born in Berkeley, California, and raised in the Bay Area post-World War II. Kenji has spent the past 5 decades researching and experimenting with many of the leading edge thinkers in consciousness and healing arts. He received his master's in education and now brings forward his unique style of blending mysticism, parapsychology, the conscious arts, quantum meditation, and the art of presence into his spiritually focused, eclectic teaching practice in Sedona, Arizona. His approach is simple and direct, reaching and teaching the soul of many. His current interests include working with indigo parents and their starseed kids in one-on-one group settings, hosting specialized retreats in higher consciousness communication, teaching soul mastery programs, leading sacred vortex hikes, facilitating wave sessions, and mentoring starseed teachers in his weekly private membership program. Kenji serves as a reflection of what is possible and holds space for the power of grace, blessings, miracles, and wonder. And today's topic is the art of presence as your default mindset. Welcome, Kenji. It was so great to have you here. Thank you for
Well,
being here today.
yeah, thank you so much, and um, appreciate the invitation.
Thank you. You have so many wonderful modalities that you work on. And first, I would love to hear. So you've been in the field for 50 plus years, as your intro states. How have things changed, and what really brought you into doing this work in the first place?
Well, doing the work is in my calling, and that's probably the simplest way to express that. I always had, from early on, a calling to learn or actually remember about healing and higher consciousness. So it's always been with me. It was not something that people said, "Oh, well, you should do this or you should do that." I just had this desire to learn as much as I could when I was a young adult. And back in the day, of course, the new generation has no clue, to not having internet or Wi-Fi, black and white TVs, no satellite, all that stuff. But I remember escaping high school, shall we say. I did graduate, but just barely. There was nothing in the world that attracted me. And I thought, well, I could study psychology, but my sense of it is it's very boring, it's very dull, and it's not going to really teach me anything. So I thought to myself, I don't know if I really have the intelligence to go to college, so I'm going to join the Air Force because I didn't want to get drafted and go to Vietnam. So I did that, and that was kind of a tough experience in the sense of there was no stimulation as to other ways of perceiving life, as you might imagine. So when I got out of when I got out of the Air Force, I worked at a warehouse to save money to go to college. And lo and behold, after my first semester, I had no clue if I could even write a term paper or a final paper or anything, that's required to graduate high school, college. And I got an average of B, and I thought, wow, hey, I could do this. I could actually maybe get a degree. So maybe I'm not so stupid as I thought I was. So that was inspiration for me to continue, and I got even better grades as I went through the levels, and eventually got my master's after 10 years, off and on going to college. But I'll say the difference between then and now, and it's obvious to us that are of this generation that there was really nothing available for us starseeds back then. So we had to struggle with maybe attempting to get a job, I was a seeker, so I like hopped from place to place every 6 months and could never settle down. And it was like a grasshopper. You know how grasshoppers jump from one place to another. Well, I was kind of like that for literally 20 years. I was seeking. I was seeking a teacher or teachers that could help me to understand about healing and consciousness. And yeah, some were okay. A lot of them were just kind of boring. And so I delved into energy work, body work, psychospiritual, psychotherapy, holistic education, all these things that we kind of study now, nature studies. And I come to realize that really you can study all of everybody else's systems to death, which I did in a way, sacrificed my own livelihood to support other teachers, right? Until I woke up one day and go, wait, I gotta take care of myself, man. I gotta start earning money. So I realized at some point back in almost 20 years ago that you can't do somebody else's work. It really comes down to you have to create your approach in the healing arts or in the teaching arts, then that becomes really authentic because then you are tuning into your own wisdom, your own knowing of how to do stuff. So I learned from all these teachers, hey, yeah, great approaches to this, that, and the other. But when it comes down to I've got to let all that go and tune in and to see where my perspective fits into the scheme of things. So that took a long time, but we have arrived in a sense on that level. Oh, also, uh, another point is back in the day, as we say, the consciousness was not very high, collectively speaking, although people were very nice and friendly, but weren't into these things that we study now. There was no such thing as psychics or channelers back in the day, maybe an astrologer or two here and there, but that was about it. Now, and these younger generations have this gift in a sense of being able to access all kinds of different approaches to the healing arts and to consciousness studies. Back in the day, we didn't have that. So we were kind of fumbling around in the wilderness, so to speak, kind of blazing trails and not really knowing where it was going to end up. And occasionally we meet a profound teacher and go, wow, yeah, this is really cool stuff. And then you study that for a little bit, and then you get a little bored and go, that doesn't quite relate to me. I can't quite do these techniques or this approach because it doesn't quite fit my character, shall we say. Um, but what I learned is if you keep it simple, everything that you do, you keep it simple and direct, you can't go wrong.
Absolutely. And I do, I mean, it is a credit to so many people that were the pioneers like yourself that didn't have, didn't have the access to things that like people do now. And just summits like this is something that wasn't around, many years ago. This has really become a new way of sharing people's gifts out in the world through different modalities such as this. So I know that at that time there just wasn't as much. So, the pioneers like you that continued on that path and are here sharing everything that you've learned. And I definitely agree with um the having teachers and then figuring out you need to go your own way. And I have seen that happen a lot as well with people that maybe when they started on the path, it was like, you have to meditate so many hours a day. You have to do this. You have to have these rituals. And now it's really turned into like, what's best for what you need and how you are going to express. And it's so much of a remembering for people versus it is, like this structured, you must do these things to have these results. It's just opening up more naturally and authentically and allowing people to be in their own vibration and their own gifts. So I think that that's also been a beautiful part of how things have been unfolding, especially, in the last 10-ish years, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but I have seen that that's coming about more and more. So, yeah. So you
Yes.
work with star seeds, and you just mentioned that you were a star seed, and how it was difficult to navigate that. Could you tell us a little bit more about what a star seed is?
Okay, so it's just a term, but it's a nice sounding term that we give to people that listen to a different drummer and always have, that don't fit the mold, that are maybe misfits, rebels, outcasts, troublemakers like myself, um, people that upset the apple cart, people that feel, sense, see, know differently than most other people. Star seeds are those that are not very well understood by the majority of mainstream. And it's only because they have a kind of a closed system of perception. Um, Star seeds are all those people or souls that are going to end up on your summit listening to the different presenters. So you could say that anybody that signs up for your summit is a star seed, an evolving star seed, an awakening star seed, or maybe an advanced star seed. So they're also called crystals, indigos. Indigos are system busters. They came in originally back starting in waves, in groups back 1975, thereabouts. So there seems to have been waves of souls that have come in like every 5, every 7 years, maybe every 10 years. They come onto the planet and they start to attempt to settle in. So again, starseeds have trouble fitting into the society as it has been structured because they realize this is insanity. This is like crazy. This is like backwards. It's like the Course in Miracles used to state over and over again that most people have upside down thinking. So if you really contemplate that and you look at the world and you look at how we created society and cultures, our big cities, everything, our governments, it's all backwards. It's convoluted. It actually is the opposite of simplicity. So star seeds, their challenge is how do we navigate in this world of upside down thinking and a lack of common sense? Well, I don't know if I have the answer to that, but I know very early on, yeah, I had a lot of challenges energetically, emotionally in trying to fit in. I could never find a job that like touched my soul because it wasn't out there. Like this summit was being advertised in a flyer. This is back then in the day, in a flyer. That's how we marketed ourselves. Oh, say in 1970, 1971, I would have signed up for it just like that. Wouldn't even had a second thought of going, yeah, this is something that I could get into. So, these people that are kind of intrigued by podcasts and telesummits, the alternative way of receiving information, I think it's a very positive thing that it's happening. And we congratulate all of you that are doing this because you are reaching people who otherwise may not have be reached in a way. And of course, your presenters will stimulate the audience into thinking differently and to like contemplating who am I? Where I want to go in my life? What's the nature of reality? What's the purpose of life? What's after death? All these things. So it's very good, that people are being challenged to go within and contemplate the nature of the universe.
Yeah, and I feel like we're really being pushed too. It's like you can't wait anymore. This is
No.
happening.
Yes.
You're either going to be struggling or you're going to go with this flow of conscious awakening. How have you noticed that change from, years ago to now? How much of this conscious raising, people awakening, how have you seen this change within your own clients?
Well, I see it mostly in the Gen Z generation and maybe the generation that came before them, maybe, but definitely the Gen Z generation and their kids that are coming up now. So think of it this way. Anybody that was born after 1975 um, probably has the internal urge, in a sense, to find out who they are and what their role is in this world, as opposed to the generation that came before them. But see, each generation that has come, more of them have come with each succeeding generation. But I would still say starseeds are a very low portion of the global population. So back in my day, it was less than 0.0000001%. I'm just making it up, right? Wasn't very many of us. Uh, call them pathfinders or think about it this way. When Einstein came and started doing his physics stuff, wow, I mean, he kind of upset the apple cart in certain ways, right? So we've had pockets of these avatars that have come to like shake things up, but they weren't really understood, obviously, by the marketplace. But more and more people now, because it's becoming accepted, are into yoga, channeling, anything that you can think of in the spiritual arts. They're more willing to investigate. Whereas, say, even 20 years ago, there was a lot of resistance to that. And the only reason why we have resistance is because people aren't willing to expand their awareness to think or to actually be receptive to something that's different than what they were raised to believe in. That's our challenge. That's the Starseed challenge is to find the truth of everything and to know what is for them and what to discard and not to be so sensitive that you isolate yourself in your home because you can't even go out shopping because you'll get a stomach ache or a headache or you don't like the vibes in town. We have to learn how to master that energy, not to
Yeah.
be a part of it, but that's part of the challenge of the star seeds is to not be overwhelmed by what they experience and what they see and what they know and who can I tell this to and who I can't. So see, these are all what developmental lessons and ah, moving through life, right? Life will teach you. One of my teachers back in 1980 in Canada, we were doing a spiritual psychotherapy course, and he gave everybody a message before the ending of the course. And I still remember this clear as day. He said, let life be your teacher. And I knew when he said it to me yeah, that's really profound. That might be a little hard to like experience, but yeah, I knew that was the truth.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Um, yeah, we're all here to experience. And so
Yeah.
it's we need to go out and be curious and we need to, you know, meet people that are different than us and learn new modalities and just experiment with everything that's out there. But I do agree with there's with the star seeds and just so many people being so sensitive and empaths that it can be really difficult to navigate this world and to navigate these energies and having so much heaviness and fear sometimes all around us and feeling that from others. How would you say people, because you said we need to work on that, and I do think I completely agree. How do you help people, or how would you recommend people to move through life, being able to not be as receptive to all of that energy that might be so hard?
Well, there's many levels to that. But I will say how I work with people, how I coach people and mentor people. Star seeds. Well, all my clients all my life have been star seeds. So that's like my soul family, right? So I've never really had clients that like don't understand what I'm talking about. I don't know if I'm lucky that way, but I seem to be able to actually talk with anybody and be comfortable with that, even if they're not metaphysical at all or any of that stuff. I could talk to born again Christians, I can talk to little kids, I can talk to parents that are struggling. It really doesn't matter. I seem to have a knack for finding that level of energetic communication where people understand what we're talking about and what we're sharing. But here's the thing that I've learned to do through my journey through life. There is a way where you can hold, and that's not even the right term, but mm, to share a vibrational energy where people can begin to bring through their own knowing about their own problems in life or the solutions that they want to manifest for whatever it is, their business, their relationship, their marriage, their college education, parenting kids. So I've learned not to talk down to people, to actually be an equal. I was reminded back when I studied psychic stuff back in the early 70s before psychic schools were even known in this country. Um, well, that you are senior to your guides. And the way that I heard that, I understood that. In other words, don't give your power away to your spiritual guides. And then they're not guides to tell you how to do stuff. They are reflectors of what you know. So when you go to a reading of some kind, if a person's channeling your guides or their guides, and they mirror back to you your own innate awareness regarding your questions, then they are very clear. If they don't, then maybe consider walking away, as they say. But again, it's like knowing what is true for you and what is not. But getting back, I hold the idea, the perception that if I approach a session in the correct way, being a clear and perfect channel in that moment, that the inner knowing of the client or the student will be brought forward in conscious awareness and they'll get their ahas or they'll go, oh, yeah, I always knew that, but now I didn't trust it, but now I'm going to trust it. So basically, how I see healing is coming to the awareness that everything that we think we need to solve or heal in our life has already been corrected in a sense, has already been perfected. And all we need to do is to create again that vibration that it's already here, it's already done, it's already manifest. Because if energy follows thought, and we have this thought that, hey, my body is already perfect the way that it is. Even though I may have these conditions, the more that we hold this vibration of my body is perfect, I'll have my body, there's nothing to heal, there's no problem to solve, it's going to be that way. Now, I just did a retreat with a dear friend here in Sedona. It was a 5-day retreat. And I personally got a lot out of it in the sense of I had this consideration that my business is struggling and I'm losing money. Last 2 years, I've been losing money, not making a profit, and like my savings are dwindling, and like going through that whole survival thing, right? And getting discouraged and even questioning myself and like what I know and what I can offer and all that. I went to the whole thing of self-doubt. Like, should I just quit, give up my business, like get off the internet, social media, dissolve my website? I went to the whole thing, all these scenarios, in my mind of like, and then coming out of the retreat, because I shared that piece, I think, in day three with um, the attendees, and they were really appreciative of my uh, vulnerable expression, I guess you could say, transparency. Well, anyway, sharing that actually shifted my perception of that. And so when the retreat ended, I had a renewed energy about my business. So it totally shifted, in a matter of a few days. And I didn't do anything, I didn't like do this process. I just realized, wow, I don't have to think this way. I don't have to go any more into debt, and I don't have to have any negative thoughts about like why my business is not succeeding, right? When you work like how many decades to build your business, and then you reach this place of like, why isn't it happening? But I know I'm not the only one. But we can't blame it on the economy either in world events. But it is bringing up the survival thing, and we have to look at it, and we can't be afraid of it. We have to put ourselves in a situation where we can realize alternatives, I guess, in our perception. So, like attending a retreat was good for me being a facilitator, right? I probably couldn't have gotten that awareness going to somebody else's retreat, right? And going, hey, I want to work on my business stuff. So it all worked out and it was unexpected.
That's beautiful. And even with your topic for this talk, presence is the default mindset. Could you,
Yeah.
I mean, that very much your story just very much kind of ties into that. How, just from your experience and that kind of experience that you just had, how would you teach that to other people to be in that presence for the default mindset to keep them in that way of thinking? Because we can definitely project our thoughts into the future, which then causes the anxiety, or think of the past, which just causes the grief, and kind of pull ourselves out of the moment of our creativity and of our joy and of our blessings. And so how do you work with clients, or, even with your own personal experiences? How can people stay in that present mindset?
Well, there's a certain star system, I guess you could say, curriculum, if you will, for lack of a better term, or a methodology, for lack of a better term, that teaches about technical healing. And I've always been interested in that. I just have always been interested in the technical aspect of how healing occurs or how raising your consciousness occurs. So I teach that all the time in retreats and in sessions, in vortex hikes. But basically, we all, as we know on this other level, we all have a divine presence. And it's basically called the I am presence, for lack of a better term, or the God self, or the high self, or the Amakui, Akua, or what Brahma consciousness, whatever name you give it, right? That is our essential state of consciousness. And since our culture did not teach how to embody that as we were growing up and how to use that power growing up, and the church kind of misconstrued all of that level to where it doesn't really work. And if you just look at the results, yeah. So what we do is we energetically guide people into these different layers of awareness until we get to that very pristine place that Buddha called the clear light, in a sense, which is, by definition, all that is, because we're a part of that. So it's like, imagine this, that creator, whatever creator is, right? In the very beginning, before time began, created what we see in all the universes. And the first step down was the individualized divine spark that we will call the I am presence. So from that came step down of the oversoul and then soul aspects that incarnated on planets like Earth. So we guide people into actually reversing that process to where we, how shall we say, we disengage from this world as we know it, because some say it's an illusion, but let's just say whatever mankind has made up in conscious in their mind as far as physical realities is not the real thing. The real thing is that which your I am has created. But that's a whole nother retreat. In fact, that's probably several retreats. But we go back in a way to that place where we are more essence, and then we guide people to begin to embody that, coming back to the layers of density back to your physical body. So yes, this is like an ascension process, and then it's a descension process, embodiment process. So your presence is not your mind, it's not your emotions, it's not your body, it's not your job, it's not your career, it's not your role in life, it's not your ego. So if your presence is none of that, then what's left? That's the real you. And that's what we guide people to experience, that essential part of them. And then they come back out of the activation and they can't say anything. Anybody want to share? Silence. Well, of course, you don't want to share that pristine experience that you're still experiencing, right? That you can't describe other than, wow, it was very blissful or like, wow. It's that place where people say, well, there was no thoughts. I was in this place where there was no thoughts. And it was serene and it was still. And I felt this vastness and I felt this love and this light. Okay. So the trick now, how do you embody that in your daily life? So you can go into the marketplace, go shopping, and still carry that presence. And we tell people the healing part for others, you don't have to do anything when you're embodied presence. Your presence just automatically will help change uh, wherever you walk in the world. And then it's up to people to accept it or not, right? Not your job to know if they accept it or not. Your job is just to be the offering. See, then that takes responsibility out of like being a healing channel, right? You're just here to offer. What others do with it, we use the old saying, there's a camel in the desert, and the camel is dying of thirst. It is looking for the water hole. And you happen to be walking alongside the camel, knowing where the water hole is, and you're going to guide the camel to the water hole, but you can't make the camel drink the water. But you can guide the camel to the water trough. Kind of like that. Like Buddha, when people would ask him, like, what is enlightenment or the nature of life, right? He maybe would just point out into the sky, like, that way.
Awesome. So I think that you have a little activation, a little meditation sample for some work that you're doing. If you would wanted to kind of lead us in that, I think feel like this would be a really good time for that. Just bringing people into their presence, and this would do that exactly. So
Okay, so here's just a short meditation protocol that we do. It's very important to set sacred space before we do anything spiritual, if you know what I mean. Meditation, yoga, going out in nature, communicating with a friend, offering a healing session, receiving a healing session. You want to create sacred space so that everything can flow. So imagine that we're bringing our awareness through the breath, very important, that we're going to take in a big breath of light through the nose, and we're going to bring that light, breathe it in into the belly, then up into the diaphragm, up into the very top part of our lungs, all the way up. And we're going to feel that light in our bodies for a second or two, and then slowly exhale in reverse order, just letting the light out on the exhale through the mouth or through the nose. So you're going to create the intention that I am here, I am now, and I am as you take another breath in and out. Feel the intention, I am here, I am now, I am. That brings you into this present now moment where the power is. So we breathe in again, relax the body from head to toe, just letting go of all tension and stress and worry for the moment. Just let it run off out through your feet into the beautiful earth we call New Earth, Gaia. Letting go of all the tension in the shoulders, the forehead, the jaw, the tension in the eyelids, your calves, your fingers, and your toes. Just let it all release and go out into the beautiful earth, grounding that into beautiful earth. And then let your body just breathe naturally. And we're going to bring awareness out and away from the earth and everything that's going on the planet, your to-do list, everything, all your relationships. And we're going to, again, breathe into this now moment and feel as if you're bringing your awareness, your concentration, your attention, your intention, your attention into a one-pointed focus within, whatever that means for you, going within to that place that's very still, that place that's very calm, that place that's very loving. And just begin to be in that place of knowing, of stillness, of acceptance, of revelation. And now, as you come back to the physical world and your body and your room, keep that channel open and reimagine through your knowing and your felt sense in your body that you're bringing home more of the real you, the essence of you, divine spirit, of you, cosmic soul, back into your body through the crown. And imagine that it's slowly spiraling down through your spine and anchoring in your feet, the bottoms of your feet, and then going into the earth, new earth. And that your magnetic field is expanding out to encompass the beautiful world of the quantum, the real world. And then recenter in your sacred heart, in your body, in the center of your chest. Reimagine that you're centering the light, your sacred heart, that place of power right in the center of your body. And then for a moment, feel your hands, feel that the chakras in your hands expanding and radiating light out into your field, out into your environment. When you're ready, slowly open the eyes and take one more gentle deep breath. And we always encourage people to sip some water after activations coming back from meditation or activations because the water will help your cells to be more infused with the energy that you are bringing into your body. Okay, that was the sample of a spontaneous tune-in, as we say. They're always spontaneous. We never know where it's going to lead. We just go with the flow.
I love it. And I feel like that's something that it just took a few minutes and it kind of brings you into your presence, brings you into your body, brings you into alignment, gets you very centered. And it doesn't seem like it would take that much time. So I think that's a beautiful example of how you help people and you share your meditation work with them and get them into alignment and presence. Thank you for sharing that. Um, do you have any last words of wisdom that you would like to share with the audience? Anything that you would like to leave them with, knowing about you and what they can be in for in this healing and raising their consciousness as it's moving with the planet and the times?
Is now the time to share just briefly about the free gift offer before we go into last words? So my free gift offer is 2 months free in our beautiful membership program called Joyful Creations Academy. And it's a very safe and sacred platform for star seeds to come together and to share and to learn and to teach one another. I am the facilitator, and we do coaching, we do mentoring, but we also sometimes ask the attendees to share their perspective on someone that had just shared something, maybe of a personal nature. The group has become very tight and we've become a soul family. So it's a beautiful experience. So we do a lot of individual mentoring coaching. We do psychic exercises to develop our psychic abilities. And sometimes we do spontaneous things that come through in an activation or in a project for the group. It's all very fun. It's all very taken with a lot of light. It's a lot of lightheartedness, but it's a very beautiful place for people to meet each other and become one tribe, so to speak. And that's very needed for star seeds that I'm finding in this world, a place where they can go and talk to people of like mind that won't call them crazy or stupid or like weird or weirdo or woo-woo. Yeah. We have a saying, weird is normal in the quantum. So we invite all weird star seeds to check out our program. So last words. Hmm. So do your best when you're out in the world to know what is true for you and what is not, and to only take in what is true for you, what resonates with you, the soul, and disregard all the rest. Be willing to know the truth of everything and to realize that the so-called work on core issues or the shadow aspect, do not be afraid. It's actually a beautiful experience when you begin to embrace the other parts of you that have been hidden or tucked away, and know that all aspects of your true self are a divine expression in all of creation. And all you have to do is to say yes to your ascension, to your awakening, and be open to connecting with people that will support you on your journey home.
Well said. Beautiful, beautiful final words and final blessings and a gift of knowledge and wisdom to share with our audience. And your gift of your community, I think again, that is a beautiful offer as well, because I do agree that there are so many people right now that are going through the awakening ascension process, and they're really needing a community of like-minded people to share their experiences with, not feel like they're crazy, feel supported, and have that kind of that group experience. So I think that's a beautiful gift, and I love that you offer that. And thank you again for those final words. How can people work with you? How can people find you? I know everyone's going to be interested in doing some more of those meditations as you gave us a little sampling of. How can they
Oh
find
yeah,
you?
and they can also get a free activation by signing up for our email list, which I would recommend. But all they got to do is Google my name, Kenji Kumara. I'll come up. But my website is my name, kenjikumara.com. And you can check out the offering. Just check out everything at the top of the page. in the navigation bar. And I am working on another Sedona retreat in December with a very dear friend. I'm creating a chakra healing program and live event. And I've just created in draft form another version of Awaken Your Higher Conscience program, and that will be online and also as a product. And then let's see if I have any other projects. Oh, yeah. Would be to go out into the community here around Sedona and see if I can work with the Starseed kids and their parents, either in or out of the school system. So we're going to do our attempt to reach the Indigo Starseed kids and parents here in the local area.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Lots of ways to work with you. And I think that that's definitely something those indigos and star seeds, they need to have that support and how to communicate and that's a beautiful offering that you provide in service. So thank you so much for being here today, and thank you all for being here, and so much love and blessings to you all, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you again, Kenji.